And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Welcome back, folks. We are on Facebook Live right now, but we're pre-recording for the show that will air tomorrow, Wednesday, the 22nd at 10 a.m. So I can take some questions over Facebook Live, but that is it. But I have Meet Your Candidates. I have two of them on tap today. And the first is a repeat guest many times over, and always a pleasure and a treasure to have you here in the studio with me, Troy McDonald from the city of Stuart. How are you doing today, Troy?
I'm doing great, Casey. Thank you for having me here today. I always enjoy coming on your show and then also discussing and debating with you both on and off the show.
We
had
do
some
that a lot.
We do, and I've really enjoyed it over the years, and I really appreciate your friendship and your counsel.
I appreciate that as well. And you're right. We go back a long way, over a decade, folks. We talked a lot about the train in the early days. And Troy is always one, as a commissioner, I have always been able to reach out to, and we always have conversations and discussions, and we don't always agree, but that's what it's about. And I always say, Troy, if you want somebody that agrees with you 100% of the time, then you need to run yourself. So,
Exactly.
I'm the only one who's going to agree with me all the time. I know that. So I want to especially shout out Indiantown Marine Center. They are affordability and availability, no gate fees, no markups, no wait for a haul out. And folks, Indiantown Marine Center, they're doing a huge expansion. They're going to be bringing in super yachts down there. It's a fantastic property down in Indiantown. So I've got these great Indiantown supporters in Indiantown Marine Center and also Indiantown Marina. And for both of them, I want to remind you that hurricane season is right around the corner. So folks, I urge you strongly, make sure you make your reservations now, because once a hurricane is named, I pretty much guarantee you, you will not find a place in this town to safely store your boat. But if you reserve your spot now, you'll be all set. So that's Indiantown Marine Center, 772-597-0800. So Troy McDonald is a dedicated individual running for Stuart City Commission Group 4 with a focus on balanced budget and fiscal responsibility. He takes pride in maintaining stable tax rates of 5 mils annually since 2019, ensuring that the residents are not burdened with increased taxes while still meeting their needs. As someone who values public safety, Troy strives to strengthen the city's emergency services. With his efforts, Stuart Fire Rescue has maintained an impressive ISO rating 1 rating, leading to reduced insurance costs for the residents. He also has worked towards fully funding the fire department, adding an additional station and upgrading their trucks and equipment. Furthermore, he ensures that Stuart remains a safe city by providing full funding to the police department and increasing their presence through new offices. Troy is passionate about enhancing the quality of life in Stuart. He believes access to waterfront is crucial for residents and has worked towards providing extensive public access facilities along the St. Lucie River at places like Shepherd Park, Flagler Park, Riverwalk Stage, and more. Apart from this, he's contributed towards diverse parks and recreation options, such as playgrounds, dog parks, boat ramps, baseball fields, event parks, walking trails, military memorials, tennis courts, and numerous pocket parks around the city. Troy strongly supports preservation projects such as the Heart of Haney Creek, 53 acres, Poppleton Creek Park, and Bruner Pond. He also leads various infrastructure projects like transitioning from septic to sewer citywide and multiple stormwater projects. Additionally, his collaboration with the Army Corps of Engineers and Martin County has resulted in developing the Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual, which we know as LOSUM, which aims to end Lake Okeechobee discharges. One of Troy's top priorities is providing clean drinking water for all residents in Stuart. Hence, he supported the building a state-of-the-art reverse osmosis plant in 2024, which includes reverse ionization for the PFAS removal. This is a result of the city's successful litigation against 3M securing a favorable settlement. And that was actually a big settlement and big news here in the city of Stuart.
It was the litigation was 3M, and unfortunately, I can't talk too much about it. Technically, the litigation is still ongoing. We can't discuss at this point. We can't discuss the actual settlement amount. That will come out later on this year, which I'm looking forward to that date. But
Right.
what it showed is the city of Stuart became the bellwether case in the class action lawsuit against 3M regarding aqueous form filling foam or something like that. But again, I'm going to be very careful what I say because there is ongoing litigation still, and the case is still open, and so we're we're kind of restricted. But I think what is important is that the city maintained amazing records, which put us in a position to be the bellwether case,
Fantastic.
and that put us in a position to provide a benefit to not just our residents, but actually the residents all around the United States. So, and at the end, 3M settled and did the right thing. So.
Well, clean drinking water is something we all want, so we appreciate those efforts for
It
sure.
is, and the city of Stuart has, on numerous occasions, been the best tasting water in the state. And with our new reverse osmosis system now up and running, I anticipate that we see some more of those awards coming. So
That's fantastic. Is there fluoride in the water?
yes,
There is. Okay.
yeah, the city of Stuart. Oh gosh, it was before I became a commissioner, so probably around 2008. They had a referendum, and the voters voted to put fluoride in the
Okay,
water.
okay,
So
so-
it was actually a decision made by the citizens.
Oh, perfect. Well, I love it when things are left up to the citizens. We need our commissions to vote for us because we can't vote on every single thing, but on big issues, I think it's important. So, Troy, we go back, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, and you know I have to bring this up.
We're going to talk about the train.
We are going to talk about the train. You got
Actually,
it.
I love talking about. I actually do like talking about the train because. As you know, I think I may have been the first elected official in Martin County to raise concerns about then all aboard Florida. And so people, I guess, are somewhat surprised about some of my positions now. But the positions that I hold now are a result of positions that we took earlier then. And in fact, when I saw you just recently, I told you I came back and I came across a couple newspaper articles from 2014, and one of them was a letter written by me to several public officials throughout Washington and the state regarding the train and listing some concerns that the Stewart had. And some of those things in that letter were concerns about the trestle bridge, over the St. Lucie River, and both car traffic. In fact, it was single tracked. It was the bridge itself is only, I think, 45 feet wide. The opening,
Right.
restricting boat traffic, and it would be down a lot more. So, just before we go on to, I'll just take each item at a time. So one is we worked with Brian Mast to get a schedule that works as best as possible for the boaters that we have now, and it does appear to be working pretty well. But more importantly, we also, the city of Stuart, working again with Congressman Mast, became the grant applicant, and we received a $130 million grant to replace the St. Lucie Bridge. And now, here's the benefit to everybody on that. You know, I say, well, why are we benefiting Brightline? First of all, the Federal Rail Administration spends about $4 billion a year on rail projects. But the benefit to us is that the bridge will be at least as high, if not higher, than the road bridge. So about between 80 to 85% of the boats that now have to wait for the bridge to go up, the railroad bridge will be able to just go without waiting for the bridge. Second thing, it'll be double track. So we will not have to worry about, from time to time, trains are stopped on the tracks waiting for other trains to go through. Two trains will be able to go by, and it's not as critical with just the two Brightline trains. But if you have a freight train that's stuck waiting and it's 2 miles long, it can block numerous intersections. It can block every intersection from downtown Stuart to Monterey. So these are some of the reasons why that's been a great idea. The other thing that we were concerned about with traffic safety, public safety, as far as the intersections, and we worked very ultimately in conjunction with the settlement that Martin County had from the litigation. There's been after that was settled, there's been a sea change in the behavior and the ability to work with Brightline and FEC. And in fact, one of our intersections at Florida Street, right by Dixie, after it was completed, quite honestly, we went and looked at it. It was horrible. The residents were upset. We felt it was dangerous. We went back, got Brightline out there. They looked at it. They redesigned the intersection and rebuilt it at their cost. So, because theoretically they could make us pay for it. Now we are currently, as we're working towards quiet zones, we're currently working with them some redesign on Confusion Corner and Sailfish Circle as well, too. Because now that we're seeing we're seeing where the potential mishaps could happen, and so, and that will also help us lead to quiet zones, getting the score that we need in order to, when Martin County applies for the quiet zones, because the county has to apply for them, not the city, that they score enough where we can get those quiet zones and hopefully reduce some of the train noise. And then finally, there's the station.
Yes, and before you answer that, Jason Bennett's coming in and he has a question about that. The $30 million station and that the city's participating in. He said, why do you support Brightline when you were against Brightline for so long, speaking out publicly at hosted events against Brightline? Now you're rolling out the red carpet for them. Brightline using taxpayer money to fund their station when they're a privately owned company. Do you believe this is being responsible managing the tax base of all residents in the city? The city of Boca Raton did not pay for a Brightline station, only the parking garage.
Well, the city of Stuart's only paying for a parking garage. The county is paying for half the station pursuant to the settlement agreement.
Correct.
They're paying up to $15 million, Martin County is. City of Stuart's doing a parking garage. Brightline, we build the parking garage. Brightline goes away the next day. I still have a parking garage. I've been trying to get a parking garage built for 11, 12 years in the downtown Stuart, and now I'm finally going to be successful in getting that. And then the way we're financing, no new taxes. Our CRA is funded through what they call TIF financing, tax incremental financing, TIF. And unfortunately, it's like a 2-hour class just to get the basic understanding of it. It took me a while.
And we only have about 10 more minutes.
I know. But our TIF is based on the increase of assessed value. When the CRA started, the first year that we had TIF, in 1999, we had $41,000. Last year, we brought our TIF brought in $5.2 million. That is no new taxes. It's from the current tax base. And it's not an additional tax. It's just taking based on the increase in assessed value, because the CRA, the original part of the CRA went from, in 25 years, went from $104 million in value to pushing $500 million, and that's because of all the projects that we've done and where we've rebuilt. So our TIF funding is how we'll pay for that, along with grants. There are numerous grants. Boca Raton actually went after paid for the station, went back and got grants, and we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to seek those grants, and we feel confident we will have the opportunity to get them. Can't guarantee anything, but what I will say, the other aspect of it is that the increase in tax base in the future will help our future tax base with the downtown area. And finally, why did I support? I've never not supported a station. In fact, I've always said that we needed a station. If the train is going to come through, we should have a station. It was actually in the 90s, it was codified into our comp plan to return passenger rail service to downtown Stuart. And interestingly enough, in the 90s, when they put that in our comp plan, and they actually identified the exact location that the station ended up going.
Today.
Is selected today. So that's why I say there's been a evolutionary change from, lots of reasons why, because at some point I think many of us knew that the train was always going to come through. Even though we did our efforts, and so we've mitigated the as much as we possibly can the negatives by trying to create some positives.
Very good, and I appreciate you answering that. Myself, we all know I'm against even grant money for the train station, but on the other hand, I know there's a lot of people that do support it. So this is what it's about.
The biggest sea change I've seen is the number of people now that have come up to me and thanked me. I've been surprised at the number of people who come up and thanked me for getting the train station. The number one complaint I get isn't the traffic or the gates. It's actually the horns. So we are working on that.
Big complaint.
And There's also been a change even within the state. I think the Secretary of Transportation for the state of Florida, Justin Perdue, said at a quarterly meeting of the statewide MPO, which I sit on, that passenger rail service is one of the number one priorities of FDOT because of the exponential population growth in the state expected over the next 10 years.
There's one other question from Jason. It's a good question. And folks, I'm going to invite Troy back for a full hour like I am all the candidates here after June 20th. So Troy, if you want to come back, because this goes too quickly. And there's so many more things to talk about besides the train. On June 13th, 2022, you voted yes on the agenda item 2489-2022, the Elizabeth project consisting of 57 residential units and 15,521 square feet of office commercial space on a 1-acre parcel. This project actually only has half of the required parking spaces on their own parcel, 69 of the 138 parking spaces required. How do these projects make sense?
Well, that one's a pretty complicated project, and it goes back to the original PUD approval. As far as the size and scale of the project, it does, for the most part, with the parking part, with the exception of a few things, parking being one of them, it actually met our code. Parking, we have the ability to waive parking, but we also take into consideration street parking on all of the projects, any place in downtown. In fact, if you look at parking, there is a whole section of downtown that's 100% parking exempt, and people find a way to park. And so when you get into the downtown urban environment, then if the developer builds this project and his residents, he can't find a place to park, they're not going to rent there. And it's so that is one of the reasons for that. There was also some complications because of the original PUD was complicated because the original developer went bankrupt in the recession of the 2008 recession, and so that created some challenges as well. It was a tough one, and it was a challenge, but I think in the end we'll see how it turns out. But I think it'll be fine. So.
Dustin Veach, I appreciate you tuning in. What are the city's plans on modifying and upgrading our infrastructure, specifically the roads? Seems all in the construction adding more time and delays in traffic, and it's not doing much to help with the congestion. It's at best allowing what's here to be usable. At rush hour times, the town is basically gridlocked. Our first responders are having trouble getting to calls, and residents can't get anywhere. I sat at a green light on US 1 today at Roosevelt Bridge because 3 cars turned backing up to get into downtown. The entire right lane was blocked for 2 minutes till the vehicles could move.
So there's actually quite a bit being done. And first of all, you have to get into how transportation planning works, and then that leads to the MPO. And the MPO is actually have multiple things going on. You have to remember that the city of Port St. Lucie is adding 23,000 residents a year, and a considerable number of them, I think right now it's about 80,000 of them, transition through Martin County every day. And there's 60,000 people come in through US 1 every day from Port St. Lucie. So some of the congestion management projects that we are looking at include and these are the MPO, because the MPO is who does the road planning, and currently have underway congestion management study for US 1 from the county line to the south end of the Roosevelt Bridge. In fact, there's a public meeting Thursday, I believe it's at 4 p.m. At the Flagler Center in downtown Stuart that the MP is hosting, and we'd love for you to come out. You can get the information on the MPO's website, which I believe is movemartin.org, but don't quote me exactly on that. Trying to remember all these websites. We also have projects. We're actually looking at a grade separation project on Monterey Road to move traffic. But the city of Stuart made a decision years ago that long before I came along, that FDOT actually wanted to widen US 1 to 4 lanes. And through the from south of the Roosevelt Bridge. Okay. That would have meant actually buying multiple buildings, tearing them down, and basically eliminating commerce in the downtown area. And if people recall, we do have some gridlock at rush hour. So we have 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the afternoon. I would even venture to say that our gridlock is nothing compared to anything down south. And I drive all over the county all day long, and I can get just about anywhere in 30 minutes, with the exception of about a 30-minute period when we have everybody coming into work and everybody going home from work as they're transitioning through Stuart and Martin County for their jobs.
And I think that's one of the issues too. It's kind of like the train bridge. It's almost a choke point for us, US 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the main thoroughfare. There's just not a lot of other ways to get around unless you go out to the highway or out to the island.
And even I-95. I just saw a report on the news about I-95. People want I-95 widened,
Right.
and it's not because of what's happening in Stewart and Martin County. It's what's happening in the city of Port St. Lucie, in the amount of development that they have there when they're adding a city of Stuart population of city of Stuart every month.
5th fastest growing city in the entire United States,
Right.
Port St. Lucie. So, Troy, that's another thing that I wanted to mention too, and we brought it up before. Definitely going to have you back because I have a whole list of questions. We're not going to get to them. The city of Stuart, people are, they need to understand with development that just because it has a Stuart address and is possibly a Stuart zip code, it's not the city of Stuart.
That is absolutely true. In fact, last year in 2023 in the city of Stuart, I know people are concerned about development, but I think I asked just the other day, one residential building permit for a single family home was issued in 2023. There was one approval for 60 townhomes. But they actually got a building permit this year, and that was actually on a parcel that one time was approved for, I think, 120 condos. So the city of Stuart has been very responsible in its development, and we have done what people don't see is behind the scenes is that how we whittle projects down, but property owners have property rights. We also, in the 2018, there was a time period where I was not on the commission, and they had several workshops and studies, previous commissioners, and I think they were a little bit too aggressive as far as their pursuit of multifamily housing, but at the time, every study showed that we needed more housing, and our chambers, the city chambers, and again, I was not there at the time, said we need more apartments. The commissioners got very aggressive, I think a little too aggressive, but we do have the need for it. I hear all the time from people that say, my kids have no place to go.
Again, we've been speaking with Troy McDonald, running for re-election on the City of Stuart Commission. Troy, we're going to have you back. There's a few more questions that came up on Facebook, but we are out of time today. But when we have back, we're going to have a full hour and get all those questions answered. Appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you, Casey, and ask everybody out there listening to vote for me on August 20th.
You got it. Troy McDonald, City of Stuart Commission. Thank you for coming in, and we'll see you back here as soon as we set that date. Thank you.